Okay, so I know we're already a handful of days into April, but a lot of historical events happen in April that we'll talk about. By the way, April is from the Latin word meaning to open, implying that the flowers are opening in the springtime. On April 2nd, 1513, Juan Ponce de Leon in his cool feathered hat see Florida for the first time, claiming it for the Spanish crown. We know that Ponce de Leon was out there searching for the Fountain of Youth. The American Civil War starts in April, starting on April 12th, 1861, with the bombardment of Fort Sumter. Interestingly enough, the Civil War also ends in April, officially ending on April 9th of 1865 with Lee's surrender at Appomattox Courthouse. My historical role model, Abraham Lincoln, dies in April, passing away on April 15th after getting assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. On April 10th of 1912, the Titanic will begin its maiden voyage to New York. It'll sink a couple days later on April the 15th, 1912. In early April of 1917, America officially joins World War I. By the way, America has technically only declared war 5 times, that being the War of 1812, the Mexican-American War, the Spanish-American War, World War I, and World War II. Also, Jeannette Rankin is the only person to vote no for World War I and World War II. Reason for it is she was a woman. Women at the time could not join the army, and she said that she felt guilty sending people off to war when she herself could not go. On April 4th of 1968, civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated outside of his hotel in Memphis, Tennessee. On April 11th, 1970, the Apollo 13 mission was launched. A couple days later, there was a problem with the oxygen tank, and this is where the famous quote, "Houston, we have a problem," derives from. Though it's technically Houston, we've had a problem. The quote gets changed a little bit during the movie Apollo 13. This is the last known photo of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, taken on April 11th, 1945. He'll pass away the next day, April the 12th, 1945, in Warm Springs, Georgia. Roosevelt is the only president to serve 4 terms. Now there's an amendment stating you cannot serve more than 2. The famous Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, and others, let's not forget about them, takes place on the night of April 18th of 1775. The battles of Lexington and Concord will take place the next day. If you're keeping score at home, that means the American Revolutionary War, World War I, and the Civil War all begin in the month of April. Also, if you're ever around Concord, I highly recommend going to the Concord Museum. They have a lovely April 19th exhibit. On April 18th, 1942, the Doolittle Raids take place. The Doolittle Raids are the first air raid on mainland Japan, and though the damage was fairly minimal, it supremely boosted American morale during World War II, especially in the Pacific Theater. Last but not least, our first president, George Washington, is inaugurated on April 30th, 1789. He is unanimously chosen as the nation's first president. I know I'm missing a handful of events. April is action-packed with historical events, so look into it. There's a lot of cool websites for what happens in April, among the other months. But for always, hopefully you learned something. Love you all.